Tutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na.
Good afternoon, constellations of stars, especially to our senior high school learners who are with us in our FB Live.
Welcome to Astral Academy Cyber School. We are still live in DepEd Tayo Tanggub and Astral Academy FB page and YouTube channel.
I am Ma'am Shermay S. Epong from Tanggub City National High School.
And I am Mildred B. Bichayda from Tanggub City National High School.
And we are your teacher facilitators today. May hapon, Ma'am Mildred.
May hapon, Ma'am Sherry. Today is Wednesday, January 25, 2022. We will be having a review for this week in the subject, Discipline and Ideas in the Social Sciences. Actually, Ma'am Sherry, the social sciences like the physical or biological sciences are intellectual subjects, so directed primarily toward understanding rather than action. So it would, of course, be a curious kind of understanding that had no implications for action. And this is perhaps especially true for the social sciences.
Yes, exactly, Ma'am Mildred, no? So there is a difference between enlarging one's understanding of human behavior, no, and society on one hand, and trying to solve a social problem on the other. So the social sciences are distinct from social problem, no, or social problem solving, but each can contribute to the other.
Yes, Ma'am Sherry. So the social sciences do have a contribution to make to social practice, but not so large a contribution as they will make if helped to develop properly. So at this point in history, the magnitude of major social problems exceed the capacity of social scientists to solve them.
Yes, ma'am. So for this week, no? So this competency will provide you a review. So for this week, we will have a review on important fields in concepts, no, in the discipline and ideas in the social sciences. So after going through this module, you are expected, of course, to master the important field of study, important concepts of this subject.
Alright, so we will continue our discussions after a short break.
This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na magtipid na, ipipina, halika na, mag-aral na. Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na, mag-ibibina, ibibina, ibibina. Halika na, para na.
And we are back, still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Alright, so we are still live in DepEd Tayo Tanggub and Astral Academy FB page and YouTube channel. Alright, Ma'am Sherry, so let us start by defining social science. So when we say social science, it is defined as the body of knowledge concerned with the methodical study of various aspects of our society.
Yes.
So numerous social phenomena and the impacts of these occurrences on people's lives.
Yes, ma'am. No? So, in short, when it comes to social science, this involves the study of human society, no? Human society and, of course, individual relationships in and to society. Actually, Ma'am Eldred, no, to better understand social science, we will know what are the different fields of this study, ma'am.
Okay, so Ma'am Sherry, so let us start with anthropology. So I know it's familiar to our learners. So
Yes.
when we say anthropology, it is a study of humanity's origins. So customs and beliefs. So anthropology is the study of what makes us human.
No? So that is anthropology. Another, ma'am, is we have economics. No? This is another field of social science. So, sa maning economics? Economics is the study concerned with the use of goods and services. So, kaning economics, ma'am, it studies how individuals, no, businesses, even the government, and nations make choices about how to allocate resources. So, naana dire ang proper allocation of resources. So, the building blocks of economics are the studies of labor and union, and that is economics.
Alright, so another field is geography. So it is a study of the Earth's surface and physical features, the climate, products, and population. So, geographers are considered, ang geographers, the one who explore both the physical properties of Earth's surface and the human societies spread across it. So, geography seeks to understand where things are found, why they are there, and how they develop and change over time.
Yes, ma'am. So, that is geography. So, another field of study is history. No? So, history, of course, gikan pa sa elementary up to college, ma'am, naanata aning subject na history. So, history is the study of human affairs and past events. Important sequence of events, emphasis on cause and effect regarding decisions made by those in power. So, history, it is also a discipline that studies the chronological records of events, no? So, as affecting a nation or people. So, it is also based on a critical examination of source materials and usually presenting an explanation of their causes. So, mauna siya ang history, ma'am. The study of past events.
Okay, so another thing is linguistics. So, when we say linguistics, it is a scientific study of language, no? And its structure. So, example of this, the morphology, the syntax, phonetics, and semantics. So, this is actually the discipline of linguistics, and it focuses on the theories of language structure, variation, and use. So, the description and documentation of contemporary languages and the implications of theories of language for an understanding of mind and brain, human culture, social behavior, and language learning and teachings.
Okay, linguistics, ma'am. And then, aside from linguistics, we also have political science, ma'am. So, this is another field of social science wherein nag-study ni siya about government. Government and its structure and activity associated with it. So, under the rubric of political behavior, kaning atong mga political scientists study how and why people choose to participate in politics. No? So, the determinants of vote choice and the nature and origins of public opinion. So, that's the focus, of course, now when it comes to political science.
Alright, so next one is psychology. Okay, so psychology, it is the scientific study of the mind and behavior. So, according to the American Psychological Association, or APA in short, psychology is a multifaceted discipline and includes many subfields of studies. So, what are these? So, areas of human development, sports, health, clinical, could be social behavior, and of course, cognitive processes.
Okay, yes ma'am. So, aside from psychology, which is nag-focus siya sa behavior in the mind, we also have sociology. Okay? Sociology is a systematic study of relationship among people. So, sa mga tao. Sociology subject matter is diverse, ranging from crime to religion, no? From the family to the state, from the divisions of race and social class to the shared beliefs of a common culture, and from social stability to radical change in whole societies. So, in sociology, Manggod, there is what we call unifying, no? Unifying the study of these diverse subjects, no? Of study, in which ang purpose is, of course, understanding how our actions or how human action and consciousness both shape and are shaped by surrounding the cultural and social structures, and that is sociology.
Okay, so, and another one, we have demography. Okay, so, demography, it is an interdisciplinary study of human population. So, the characteristics of a human person, no, and development through time. So, demography is the statistical study of human populations. So, it examines the size, the structure, the movements of populations over space and time. So, this term or field, demography, is useful for governments and private businesses as a means of analyzing and predicting social, cultural, and economic trends related to population.
Yes.
So, okay, Ma'am Sherry?
Okay, yes ma'am, no? So that is demography, no? So again, the different fields of study in social sciences, ma'am, no? Para ma-review na to balik, no? And then, madali pud ma-remember sa ato ang mga, or ma-master sa atong mga learners, na atay anthropology. So, again, anthropology, in short, this is the study of man. Okay. The scientific study of men. And then another is economics. So, ang economics is the study of scarcity and choice. No? Another field, ma'am, is geography. So, geography is the study of the natural features of the Earth surface. And then, we also have history. So, sa maning history, the study and documentation of the past.
Past happenings and events.
And then, we also have linguistics. So, the scientific study of language and its structure. And then, aside from that, naapatay political science. So, political science is the social and scientific study of political institutions and, of course, political behavior. And we also have psychology, which is the study of behavior and the mind of a person. And then we also have sociology, wherein it focuses on the relationship, no, among people in the society. And the last one is demography, which is, of course, the statistical study of human populations. So those are the different fields of study in the social sciences.
Alright, so it is important for the learners to remember all of those fields. Okay, Ma'am Sherry, so that's for the fields of study in social sciences, which addresses social concerns and phenomenon.
Yes.
Then we will continue for our discussion after a short break.
This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na mag-ibig na, ibig na, ibig na. Halika na, mag-aral na. Gawin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. Okay, learners, now as expected, of course, in this afternoon's competency, you are already mastered the different fields of study in social sciences as discussed na.
Alright, so to our senior high school learners, so please check the second attendance marker on the top of your screen. So, senior high school stars, we hope that you learned something from our discussion today. So if you have any questions and comments about the topic, please write it down below in the comment section. So we hope our learners had a very good time while watching our FB Live. So this has been your Ma'am Mildred Bichayda from Tangub City National High School.
And I'm your ma'am, Shermay S. Epong, still from Tangub City National High School. Thank you for watching. Keep safe, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na.
7 Mathematics. Today is another brand new day to learn another lesson in mathematics. Dito sa nag-isang programa nyo, ang Tangko. We learn all things, ang saya! Ready na ba kayo? Hooray! Now, let us begin. Last episode, you have learned performing operations on polynomials. This time, learners, stay tuned and get prepared, for we will be focusing on multiplying special cases of polynomials called special products.
Special product is a mathematical term in which factors are combined to form products. It is called special because they do not need long solutions. Here are the different types of special products. First, we have the product of two binomials. Another is product of the sum and difference of two terms. Square of binomial, cube of binomial, and product of binomial and trinomial.
Now, let us start solving product of two binomials. A binomial is a polynomial with two terms. For example, x minus 1 and x plus 3 are both binomials. Now, let us have a review in multiplying binomials. Note, multiplication of binomials can be done using distributive property and FOIL method. For example, the quantity of x minus 6 times the quantity of x minus 2. Now, using distributive property, first, we multiply the first term of the first binomial to the second binomial. That is, x times the quantity of x minus 2. Next, multiply the second term of the first binomial to the second binomial. That is, negative 6 times the quantity of x minus 2. We now have x times the quantity of x minus 2 minus 6 times the quantity of x minus 2. Now, let's simplify. X times the quantity of x minus 2, using distributive property, we now have x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. Negative 6 times the quantity of x minus 2, using distributive property, we have negative 6 times x is negative 6x. Negative 6 times negative 2 is positive 12. We now have x squared minus 2x minus 6x plus 12. Combining similar terms or like terms, negative 2x minus 6x is negative 8x. We now have x squared minus 8x plus 12. Now, let us finalize our answer. Therefore, the quantity of x minus 6 times the quantity of x minus 2 is equal to x squared minus 8x plus 12. Now, how about using the FOIL method, or the first, outer, inner, last? To do the FOIL method, first, we multiply the first terms. X times x is equal to x squared. Next, multiply the outer terms. X times negative 2 is equal to negative 2x. Next, multiply the inner terms. Negative 6 times x is equal to negative 6x. Lastly, multiply the last terms. Negative 6 times negative 2 is equal to positive 12. We now have x squared minus 2x minus 6x plus 12. Combining similar terms or like terms, negative 2x minus 6x is equal to negative 8x. We now have x squared minus 8x plus 12. Finalizing the answer, therefore, the quantity of x minus 6 times the quantity of x minus 2 is equal to x squared minus 8x plus 12. Note, FOIL method can only be used in multiplying binomial by a binomial. Easy, right?
Now, let us proceed to the next special product. This is the product of sum and difference of two terms. Sum and difference of two terms are two binomials with same terms but differ in operation signs. One is addition and the other is subtraction. Examples of sum and difference of two terms are: the product of a sum and difference of two terms is easy to find and even easier to work out. There's no need to use distributive property or even FOIL method, since the product of a sum and difference of two terms is just the difference of the squares of the two terms. In symbol, we have the product of a plus b and a minus b, or a minus b times a plus b, is equal to the square of a minus the square of b. Let us have example. Let us multiply the binomials, the quantity of x plus 3 times the quantity of x minus 3. First, we square the first term. The first term is x. So, the square of x is equal to x squared. Next is we square the last term. The last term is 3. So, 3 squared is equal to 9. Now, let us take the difference of the two squares. Therefore, the product of the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity of x minus 3 is equal to x squared minus 9. Do you get it? Good. Well, you can actually check your answer using the distributive property or the FOIL method.
Now, let us proceed to the next special product called square of a binomial. Square of a binomial is a binomial with an exponent of 2. Examples of square of binomial are: to easily get the product of the square of a binomial without the use of FOIL method and distributive property, take note of this. The square of a binomial is the sum of the square of the first term of the binomial twice the product of the two terms and the square of the last term of the binomial. In symbol, the square of a plus b is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Note, the square of a binomial is always a trinomial. Now let us have an example. What is the square of x plus 2? Following the form a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, a squared means we square the first term of the binomial. Since the first term is x, squaring it, we now have x times x or x squared. For the term 2ab, this means we get twice of the product of the two terms of the binomial. The two terms are x and 2. Twice the two terms, we now have 2 times x times 2. For the term b squared, this means we square the last term of the binomial. Now, since the last term of the binomial is 2, squaring it, we now have 2 times 2 or 2 squared. Now, write the terms in order, then simplify. So, we now have the quantity of x plus 2 squared is equal to x squared plus 2 times x times 2 plus 2 squared. Simplifying, 2 times x times 2 is equal to 4x. We now have x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now, finalizing our answer, therefore, the square of the binomial x plus 2 is equal to x squared plus 4x plus 4. Do you get it? Great! Well, you can always check the answer using FOIL method or distributive property.
Now this time, how about getting the cube of a binomial? But let us identify first this kind of special product. The cube of binomial is a binomial with an exponent of 3. Here are the examples of cube of binomials. To easily solve the cube of a binomial, we follow this form. The cube of x plus y is equal to x cubed plus 3x squared y plus 3xy squared plus y cubed. Note that the product of the cube of a binomial has 4 terms. Now let us have an example. What is the cube of the quantity x plus 2? Now first, we have to follow the form x cubed plus 3x squared y plus 3xy squared plus y cubed. So, Let us find the cube of the first term of the binomial. Since our first term of our binomial is x, then therefore the first term of the product is x cubed. Now the second is we get thrice the product of the square of the first term and the second term of the binomial. Now since the given binomial is x plus 2, then therefore we have 3 times x squared times 2. Next, we get thrice the product of the first term and the square of the second term of the binomial. So we now have 3 times x times 2 squared. Now the last term or the fourth term of the product is the cube of the second term of the binomial. So we now have 2 cubed. Now let us write the terms in order and simplify. So the cube of x plus 2 is equal to x cubed plus 3x squared times 2 plus 3 times x times 2 squared plus 2 cubed. Simplifying, the cube of x is equal to x cubed. 3 times x squared times 2 is equal to 6x squared. 3 times x times 2 squared is equal to 12x. 2 cubed is equal to 8. Therefore, the cube of x plus 2 is equal to x cubed plus 6x squared plus 12x plus 8.
Easy, right? Now, let's proceed to solving the product of a binomial and a trinomial. Another type of multiplying polynomial problem is the product of a binomial and trinomial. FOIL method cannot be used in this case since it is only applicable in getting the product of two binomials. But the distributive property can still be used in this case. However, solving product of binomial and trinomial can easily be solved if it satisfies these three cases. Multiplying trinomial by a binomial can only be applied in these special cases. First, the first term of the trinomial is the square of the first term of the binomial. Second, the second term of the trinomial is the negative of the product of the first term and second term of the binomial. Lastly, the last term of the trinomial is the square of the second term of the binomial. Now let us have an example. Find the product of the quantity of x plus 2 times the quantity of x squared minus 2x plus 4. Now before solving this, we check if it satisfies the three cases. Case 1. The first term of the trinomial is the square of the first term of the binomial. Since the given binomial is x plus 2 and its first term is x, squaring it we have x squared. Case 2. The second term of the trinomial is the negative of the product of the first term and the second term of the binomial. In the given binomial x plus 2, the first term is x. The second term is 2. Now getting the negative of their product, we have negative times x times 2 is equal to negative 2x. Case 3. The last term of the trinomial is the square of the second term of the binomial. In the given binomial x plus 2, the second term is positive 2. Squaring it, we have 4. Now, since the given binomial and trinomial satisfy the three cases, then, solving this kind of special product, we need to follow few steps. First, cube the first term of the binomial. The first term of the binomial is x. Getting its cube, we have x cubed. Next, cube the second term of the binomial. In the given binomial x plus 2, the second term is 2. Getting its cube, we have 2 cubed. Next, write the terms in order and simplify. We now have the quantity of x plus 2 times the quantity of x squared minus 2x plus 4 is equal to x cubed plus 2 cubed. Simplifying, the quantity of x cubed is equal to x cubed. 2 cubed is equal to 8. We now have x cubed plus 8. Therefore, the quantity of x plus 2 times the quantity of x squared minus 2x plus 4 is equal to x cubed plus 8. complicated? No.
Now, since you already learned the different special products, then it's time to get your activity sheet in this lesson and answer the given activity. Let us read the directions. Multiply the following using the special products. Write the final answer only.
To end, always remember that life is like math. If you multiply happiness,
You end up living a grateful life. Grade 8 learners, stay tuned and get ready for Math 8 is coming next. Good luck and God bless everyone. Hello! Welcome back mga grade 8 Mathenics.
today is another brand new day to learn another lesson in mathematics.
Dito sa nag-isang programa nyo,
Ang Tangko! We learn all things, ang saya! Ready na ba kayo?
hooray! Now, let us begin.
A proof is a logical argument in which each statement you make is supported or justified by the given information, definitions, axioms, postulates, theorems, and previously proven statements. Proofs can be written in different ways. One of the tools used in proving is reasoning, specifically deductive reasoning. In writing proofs, the properties of equality and congruence are also used as bases for reasoning.
So now learners, stay tuned and bear with us today for we will tackle another new lesson. And this is all about writing direct and indirect proof.
Now, let us start with the different properties of equality and properties of congruence, for these will be used as bases for reasoning later. These are the properties of equality. Addition property of equality, or APE. It states that for all real numbers A, B, C, and D, if A is equal to B and C is equal to D, then A plus C is equal to B plus D. Subtraction property of equality. This states that if A is equal to B and C is equal to D, then A minus C is equal to B minus D. Multiplication property of equality. This property states that if A is equal to B, then A times C is equal to B times C. Division property of equality. This states that if A is equal to B and C is not equal to 0, then A divided by C is equal to B divided by C. Substitution property of equality. If A is equal to B, then A may be replaced with B at any time. Distributive property. This states that if A is multiplied by B plus C, then it is equal to reflexive property. A is equal to A. Anything is equal to itself. Symmetric property. If A is equal to B, then B is equal to A. Transitive property. If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. These are the properties of congruence. First, we have reflexive property. Line segment AB is congruent to line segment AB. Note, an angle or a segment is congruent to itself. Next, we have symmetric property. It states that if angle A is congruent to angle B, then angle B is congruent to angle A. Last is transitive property. This states that if angle A is congruent to angle B and angle B is congruent to angle C, then angle A is congruent to angle C.
Now, aside from the properties, you would also remember the following. A postulate is a statement that is accepted without proof. A theorem is a statement accepted after it is proven deductively. Now, how are we going to perform direct proof? To perform a direct proof, you take the original conditional statement, assume that P or the hypothesis is true, and show that Q or conclusion is also true. In other words, we start from P, then we think of everything that is possible and true from it until we reach Q. Direct proof can be done in two ways. We have the paragraph form and the two-column form. Now let us define first paragraph form. Paragraph form is also known as informal proof. The paragraph form is one way of proof where you write a paragraph to explain why a conjecture for a given situation is true. Now, let us have an example. Given angle LOE and angle EOV are complementary. Now, let us prove that the segment LO is perpendicular to segment OV. Now, using the paragraph form, here is the proof. Since angle LOE and angle EOV are complementary, then the measure of angle LOE plus measure of the angle EOV is equal to 90 degrees by definition of complementary angles. Thus, measure of angle LOE plus measure of angle EOV is equal to the measure of angle LOV by angle addition postulate. And measure of angle LOV is equal to 90 degrees. That is by transitive property. So, angle LOV is right angle by definition of right angles. Therefore, segment LO is perpendicular to segment OV by definition of perpendicularity.
Do you get it? Good! Now, let us proceed to the two-column proof. Now we have the two-column form or formal proof. In creating a two-column proof, write all the series of statements in the first column of the table in a logical order, starting with the given statements and ends it with a statement that needs to be proven. Also, in a step-by-step manner, write all the reasons for each statement using the properties of equality and congruence as our basis. For example, given measure angle SEP is equal to the measure of angle TER. Prove that measure angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 3. Now here is the proof in two-column form. We have the statement and its corresponding reason. First statement, measure angle SEP is equal to the measure of angle TER. The reason is given. Second statement, measure angle SEP is equal to the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2. The reason, angle addition postulate. Third statement, measure angle TER is equal to the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3. The reason is angle addition postulate. Fourth statement, measure angle 1 plus measure angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3. The reason, substitution property. Fifth statement, measure angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 2. Reason, reflexive property. Last statement, measure angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 3. The reason, subtraction property. Do you get it? Great!
So those were the two ways of writing direct proof. Again, the paragraph form and the two-column form. We write proof, which consists of the statement and reasons in a logical order. Now, another form of writing proof is called indirect form.
So, what do we mean by indirect proof? An indirect proof is a method of reasoning usually written in paragraph form. The opposite of the statement to be proven is assumed true until the assumption leads to contradiction. Now, here are the steps to follow when proving indirectly. First, assume the opposite of the conclusion. Write the opposite of the statement. Second, proceed as if this assumption is true to find the contradiction. Take the statement as true and solve. Third, once there is a contradiction, the original statement is true. For example, refer to this figure. Given, points D, G, and E are collinear with G between D and E. Point F is not on segment DE. Prove that measure angle DGF is not equal to 180 degrees. Now, to prove indirectly, here is the proof. Assume that measure angle DGF is equal to 180 degrees. It is given that points D, G, and E are collinear with G between D and E. Hence, angle DGF and angle FGE form a linear pair. If two angles form a linear pair, then they are supplementary. It follows that angle DGF and angle FGE are supplementary. By the definition of supplementary angle, measure angle DGF plus measure angle FGE is equal to 180 degrees. Now, by substitution, we now have 180 plus the measure of angle FGE is equal to 180. Solving the equation, we have measure angle FGE is equal to 0. By the angle measurement postulate, an angle measures between 0 and 180. But since measure angle FGE is equal to 0, this means that there is no angle formed. This implies that point F is on segment DE. This contradicts the given that point F is not on segment DE. Therefore, the assumption is false. So, measure angle DGF is not equal to 180 degrees.
Now, since you already learned how to write direct and indirect proof, then it's time to get your activity sheet on this lesson and answer the given activity. Let us read the directions. Prove using direct or indirect proof as stated in each item.
Just take your time in answering the activities.
Now, if you have questions or clarifications, you may contact the number of your teacher printed below your activity sheets.
To end, always remember
That learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere. Grade 9, stay tuned and get ready for Math 9 is coming next. Good luck and God bless everyone! Hello! Welcome back mga Grade 9 Mathinics!
Today is another brand new day to learn another lesson in mathematics.
Dito sa nag-isang programa nyo,
Ang Tangko! We learn all things ang saya! Ready na ba kayo?
hooray! Now, let us begin.
Last episode, you have learned how to perform addition and subtraction of radical expressions.
Now, learners, how about multiplying and dividing radical expressions? Well, stay tuned and get prepared for we will tackle another lesson, and this is all about multiplying and dividing radical expressions.
Now, let's perform multiplication of radical expressions. First, we have multiplying radicals with one term with the same index. In order to multiply radicals with the same index, this law of radicals must be applied. Nth root of A times nth root of B is equal to the nth root of A times B. For example, multiply square root of 12x times square root of 2xy. Step 1. Since the radicals have the same index, multiply directly the radicands 12x and 2xy. 12x times 2xy is equal to 24x squared y. We now have square root of 24x squared y. Step 2. Simplify the radical. Now, find factors of 24. One of its factors must be a perfect square. The factors are 4 and 6. We now have square root of 4 times 6 times x squared times y. Simplify. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of x squared is x. We now have 2 times x times square root of 6 times y. 2 times x is 2x. 6 times y is 6y. We now have 2x times the square root of 6y. Now let us finalize our answer. Therefore, square root of 12x times square root of 2xy is equal to 2x times the square root of 6y. Easy, right?
Now how about multiplying radical expressions with more than one term? Same index. Let us have an example. Multiply the square root of 6 times the quantity of the square root of 3 plus square root of 12. Now first, we use distributive property to remove the parentheses. So we multiply the square root of 6 to all the terms inside the parentheses. So, square root of 6 times square root of 3 is equal to square root of 18 plus square root of 6 times square root of 12 is equal to square root of 72. So we have square root of 18 plus square root of 72. Second, simplify the radicals if possible. Square root of 18 and square root of 72 can be simplified further since one of their factors is a perfect square. The square root of 18 can be written as square root of 9 times 2, since 9 is a perfect square. Square root of 72 can also be written as square root of 36 times 2, because 36 is a perfect square. So, we now have square root of 9 times 2 plus square root of 36 times 2. Simplifying, square root of 9 is equal to 3, and square root of 36 is equal to 6. So we can write this as 3 square root of 2 plus 6 square root of 2. Next, add or subtract similar or like radicals. In this case, 3 square root of 2 and 6 square root of 2 are similar radicals. To combine, we have 3 plus 6 is equal to 9. Therefore, the product of square root of 6 times the quantity of square root of 3 plus square root of 5 is equal to 9 square root of 2.
Do you get it?
Good. Now, let us proceed to division of radical expressions. For example, square root of 15 divided by square root of 6x. To divide the radicals, rationalize the denominator by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by a radical that will get rid of the radical in the denominator. Now, since the denominator is a square root, then just multiply the given radical expression by the denominator. We now have square root of 15 over square root of 6x times square root of 6x over square root of 6x. Step 2. Multiply the radicals in the numerator and also in the denominator. Now, since the radicals have the same index, then just multiply directly the radicands. We now have square root of 15 times square root of 6x is equal to square root of 90x. Square root of 6x times square root of 6x is equal to square root of 36x squared. Step 3. simplify the radicals. Square root of 90x can be simplified into square root of 9 times 10 times x. Square root of 9 is equal to 3. We now have 3 square root of 10x. For square root of 36x squared, square root of 36 is 6. Square root of x squared is x. Therefore, square root of 36x squared is equal to 6x. We now have 3 square root of 10x over 6x. Step 4. Reduce the fraction in its simplest form, if possible. In this case, 3 times square root of 10x over 6x can be reduced to its simplest form. We now have 3 over 6 is equal to 1/2. We now have 1 square root of 10x over 2x. And it is equal to square root of 10x over 2x. Therefore, square root of 15 divided by square root of 6x is equal to square root of 10x over 2x. Complicated? No!
Now, since you already learned how to multiply and divide radical expressions, then it's time to get your activity sheet in this lesson and answer the given activity. Let us read the directions. Simplify the following radical expressions.
Take your time in answering the activity.
If you have questions or clarifications, you may contact the number of your teacher printed below your activity sheet.
To end, always remember that our life is like math. At this time of pandemic, we must add patience and happiness. Subtract hatred and anger.
Multiply hope and divide love for everyone to share. Grade 10 learners, stay tuned and get ready for Math 10 is coming next. Good luck and God bless everyone! Welcome back mga grade 10 mathematics.
Today is another brand new day to learn another lesson in mathematics.
Dito sa nag-isang programa nyo,
Ang Tangkub! We learn all things, ang saya! Ready na ba kayo?
hooray! Now, let us begin.
Last episode, we already illustrated seconds, tangent, segment, and sectors of a circle.
Now learners, stay tuned and bear with us today, for we will tackle another new lesson, and this is all about center radius form of the equation of a circle.
Now, let's start with the standard form of the equation of the circle. The standard form, also known as the center radius form of the equation of the circle, is given by the quantity of x minus h squared plus the quantity of y minus k squared is equal to r squared, with the center being at the point hk and the radius of r units. The values of h and k indicate that the circle is translated h units horizontally and k units vertically from the origin.
Now, there are two ways in finding the equation of a circle given center and radius. First is when the center of the circle is at the origin. If the center of the circle is at the origin of the coordinate plane, the equation is given by x squared plus y squared equals r squared, where r is the radius as illustrated in the figure. Now, let us have an example about the center radius form of the equation of a circle. Write the center radius form of the equation of a circle given the center at the origin and the radius of 11 units. Now let's take a look at the solution. First, we identify the center and the radius of the circle. The center and the radius are given in the problem. Therefore, the center is at the point 0, 0 or in the origin. And the radius is equal to 11 units. Next, find the equation of the circle by substituting the coordinates of the center represented by hk and the value of the radius to its center radius form. The equation of the circle in center radius form is given by the square of x minus h plus the square of y minus k equals r squared. Now, let us substitute the given h, which is equal to 0, and k, which is also equal to 0, and r, which is equal to 11. So to form the equation, we now have the square of x minus h plus the square of y minus k equals r squared. Substituting, we now have the square of x minus 0 plus the square of y minus 0 equals 11 squared. The square of x minus 0 is equal to x squared. The square of y minus 0 is equal to y squared. The square of 11 is equal to 121. Therefore, the equation of the circle given the center at the origin and the radius of 11 is equal to x squared plus y squared equals 121.
Second way in finding the equation of a circle given its center and radius is, when the center of the circle is at the point hk, the equation becomes the quantity of x minus h squared plus the quantity of y minus k squared is equal to r squared, as illustrated in the figure. Let us have an example. Find the equation of a circle in center radius form with center at 5, 3 and a radius of 4 units. First, identify the center and the radius of the circle. In the given, the center is 5, 3. The radius is 4 units. Note, the equation of the circle in center radius form is given by the square of x minus h plus the square of y minus k is equal to r squared. Now, since the center is 5, 3, therefore h is equal to 5 and k is equal to 3. Now, substituting the values of h, k, and r in the equation, we now have the quantity of x minus 5 squared plus the quantity of y minus 3 squared is equal to 4 squared. Now, simplify. 4 squared is equal to 16. We now have the quantity of x minus 5 squared plus the quantity of y minus 3 squared is equal to 16. Therefore, the equation of a circle in center radius form with center at 5, 3 and a radius of 4 units is the quantity of x minus 5 squared plus the quantity of y minus 3 squared is equal to 16. Easy, right?
Now, we will continue learning as we will proceed to writing the equation in the center radius form into general form of a circle and vice versa. Circle equations are often found in general form as x squared plus y squared plus ax plus by plus c equals 0, where a, b, and c are real numbers. In order to understand better the ways to write the equation in a circle in either the standard form and or the general form, the discussions are divided into two parts. First, writing the equation of a circle form, the center radius or standard form, to the general form. This means that we are writing from the equation the square of x minus h plus the square of y minus k equals r squared into x squared plus y squared plus ax plus by plus c equals 0. Now, let us have an example. Write the equation of the circle, the square of x plus 2 plus the square of y minus 1 equals 81 in its general form. First step, we expand or simplify the equation. The square of x plus 2 plus the square of y minus 1 equals 81. Take note that you can use the technique on multiplying square of binomials or simply use the FOIL method. Now, using this technique, the square of x plus 2 plus the square of y minus 1 equals 81 can be expanded into the quantity of x squared plus 4x plus 4 plus the quantity of y squared minus 2y plus 1 equals 81. Notice that the equation of a circle has both x squared and y squared terms having the same coefficient, which is equal to 1. Next, transform the equation into the general form. We now write it into the general form by combining the same terms and equating it to 0. So we now have x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 2y plus 4 plus 1 minus 81 equals 0. Combining like terms, the equation can be simplified now into x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 2y minus 76 equals 0. Do you get it?
Great! Now, how about writing the equation of the circle from the general form to the center radius form or standard form? Let us have an example. Write x squared plus y squared minus 6x minus 10y plus 18 is equal to 0 into the center radius form of the equation of a circle. First step, group the x and y terms on the left-hand side of the equation. In order to properly create squared terms, the coefficient of the x squared and y squared terms must be equal to 1. Now to group the x and y terms, we now have the quantity of x squared minus 6x plus the quantity of y squared minus 10y plus 18 is equal to 0. Step 2. Now to isolate the x and y terms in the left side of the equation, we now apply addition property of equality. So this becomes the quantity of x squared minus 6x plus the quantity of y squared minus 10y is equal to negative 18. Next step, complete the square for the x and y groups. First, complete the square for the x group. Making this x group a perfect square trinomial, we take the coefficient of the middle term, negative 6x, and divide by 2 and simply square the result. Negative 6 divided by 2 is equal to negative 3. Squaring negative 3, that is equal to 9. Now, let us add the result to the x group. We now have x squared minus 6x plus 9. Next, we complete the square for the y group. We take the coefficient of the middle term and divide by 2 and simply square the result. The coefficient is negative 10. Negative 10 divided by 2 is equal to negative 5. Squaring negative 5, that is equal to 25. Next, we add the result to the y group. We now have y squared minus 10y plus 25. Finalizing the result, this becomes the quantity of x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus the quantity of y squared minus 10y plus 25 is equal to negative 18 plus blank plus blank. Step 4, add the numbers that were added to the left-hand side to the right-hand side of the equation. Now, since we add positive 9 in the x group and positive 25 in the y group, we now have the quantity of x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus the quantity of y squared minus 10y plus 25 is equal to negative 18 plus 9 plus 25. Negative 18 plus 9 plus 25 is equal to positive 16. We now have the quantity of x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus the quantity of y squared minus 10y plus 25 is equal to 16. Last step, simplify by factoring. The factor for the perfect square trinomial x squared minus 6x plus 9 is equal to the quantity of x minus 3 squared. The factor of the perfect square trinomial y squared minus 10y plus 25 is equal to the quantity of y minus 5 squared. Now, to transform 16 as r squared, this becomes 4 squared. Since 4 squared is equal to 16, we now have the quantity of x minus 3 squared plus the quantity of y minus 5 squared is equal to 4 squared. Therefore, the center radius form of the general form x squared plus y squared minus 6x minus 10y plus 18 is equal to 0 is the quantity of x minus 3 squared plus the quantity of y minus 5 squared is equal to 4 squared. Do you get it?
Great! Now, how about identifying the center and the radius given the equation of a circle? Now, let us have an example. Find the center and the radius of the circle given the previous equation, x squared plus y squared equals 16. First step, we write the x group, y group, and the constant as a perfect squares. Then ensure that the values of h and k are subtracted from x and y respectively. So now, let us write it in the form the square of x minus h plus the square of y minus k equals the square of r. The x squared plus y squared equals 16 would now be equal to the square of x minus 0 plus the square of y minus 0 equals the square of 4. Then, let us identify the values of h, k, and r. In the given equation, the value of h is equal to 0. The value of k is equal to 0. And the value of r is equal to 4. Therefore, the center which is represented by hk is equal to 0, 0. And the radius, or r, is equal to 4. Complicated?
No! Now, since you already learned the center radius of the equation of the circle, then it's time to get your activity sheet in this lesson and answer the given activities.
Let us read the directions. Fill in the blanks of step-by-step solutions to get the correct equation. Decode the name of a mathematician by determining the center and the radius of each equation of a circle below, and then write the corresponding letter on the box containing the coordinates of the center and the radius.
Just take your time in answering the activities.
If you have questions or clarifications, you may contact the number of your teacher printed below your activity sheets.
To end, always remember
That learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere.
good luck and God bless everyone.
We hope that you have learned the most essential lessons you need to master. See you on our next episodes. This has been Ang Tangkub. It's Tangkub, Tangkub, Tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's Tangkub, Tangkub, Tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's Tangkub, Tangkub, Tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's Tangkub, Tangkub, Tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tutok na. It's Tangkub, Tangkub, Tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine. Masaya, tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine. Masaya, tutok na. Tangkop time.
The Department of Education, Division of Tangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Tangub, presents Ang Tangkub, Transforming Advancement in the New Normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media and instructional program crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies, thematically layered in drama plays which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
Tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine. Masaya, tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine. Masaya, tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine. Masaya, tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine. Masaya, tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine. Masaya, tutok na. Tangkop time.
Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na mag-ipipina, ipipina, ipipina. Halika na, mag-aral na. Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na mag-ipipina, ipipina, ipipina. Halika na, mag-aral na. Ipipina, 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 ipipina. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Addition o multiplication, subtraction o ang division. Problema dali resolbaron, kay ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. This is the way we write. This is the English way.
Tayo, tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na.
Happy Tuesday, everyone! Welcome to Astral Academy Cyber School. Of course, we are live na live this afternoon via DepEd Tayo Tanggol Facebook page and Astral Academy Facebook page. And today is Tuesday, and pag Tuesday, yes, kami ang inyong makauban today. Again, I am Miss Alvin Nueva, and here with me this afternoon is the facilitator of all subjects.
Wow.
Yes, I am very honored this afternoon.
Wow.
Kay siya na po ako na partner.
Yes, congrats to me.
Okay, yes.
By the way, I'm Jade Mark Abapo from Tangub City National High School. And welcome learners to our Quarter 2 Week 10 of Astral Academy Facebook Live. And since today is Tuesday, so it means that it is Mathematics Day for grade 7 to grade 10 learners.
Yes, alright. So, welcome mga Mathenics. So, Sir Ababs,
Yes.
mag-start ta after a short break. Again, this is Astral Academy Cyber School.
And we are back, still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. So, Ma'am Elvie, ato nang sugdan ang atong pagkat-on today. So, start usa kita sa ato ang Mathematics 7.
Right.
So, our Math 7 competency is uses, models, and algebraic methods to find the first product of two binomials. Second is product of the sum and difference of two terms. The third one, square of a binomial. And then a cube of a binomial and a product of a binomial and a trinomial.
Alright. So, yes, daghan gid ato ang medyo
Daghan jud.
competency for or target this afternoon,
yes.
Sir Ababs. Okay, so right. So, we have to start with our first first special product. So,
Yes.
again, we're actually dealing with special products this afternoon. So,
Yes.
naatay 5 ka-special products na ito makatunan. But we have to start with defining special products. Okay.
Yes, of course.
So, Sir Ababs, what do we mean by special products?
So, special products is a mathematical term in which factors are combined to form products. So, it is called special because they do not need long solutions. So, there are different types, Ma'am Elvino.
Yes, that is right. So again, it's called special because it doesn't need a long solution.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to start with the product of two binomials. So that is our first special product, Sir Ababs. Okay, so our competency is to make a model out
Yeah.
of it. Okay, so naa siya simple way. So the product of two binomials actually, it's like there is a property to be used, Sir Abapo, no?
Yes.
When we talk about binomial, duha ni siya ka terms.
Terms.
So product of two binomials, so binomial, this means binomial times binomial. Basically, pag mag-multiply tag binomial and binomial, the property that we're going to use is the distributive,
Distributive
property.
property.
So pasabot, if I have here A plus B multiplied by C plus D, using the distributive property, we have to use, yes, distributive. So you have to start with A multiplied to C first, and then after that, multiplied to D, and then next we also have to multiply B and C,
And then
multiply B times D. Basically, that is how the distributive property looks like. But there is a method wherein it's easier for us to solve this, and it's very important thing here. Method gid siya, Sir Abapo, no? Kaya nga, no, mas madali sa mga bata pag remember to multiply this kind of special product,
okay.
the product of binomials. Okay, so muna siya gitawag na tuog foil. Okay?
So, unsa nang foil, Ma'am LV?
Yes. Nagini siya yung meaning ng foil, Sir Abapo, no? So we have to start with the F. F here stands for first. Alright? So first, and O stands for outer. Pasabot, mga gawas nga terms. Alright? Then next, we have I, which means
Inner.
inner. So kung natay
Yes.
outer, napuntay inner. Pasabot, mga sulod,
Sulod.
nga mga terms. And then L stands for
Last.
last. Pasabot, mga last terms. So basically, kung tanawan na to ni siya nga model, for first terms here, we have, ato sang tanawan ha, before we have to go to the example. So first, if this is our model, if we're going to use the FOIL method in multiplying these two binomials, first, pasabot una, mga una. So unsa may una nga term din we have
A.
And then the second term here, ang first na to is
C.
C. So therefore, for the first term, for FOIL method, we have to multiply A and C. Alright?
Okay.
Next is O. Pasabot outer. Asa man atong outer terms ani? So, tanawon by just looking at the terms, basically the outer is gawas man no. So pasabot kini. This is the first outer and the other outer would be D. So pasabot we have to multiply A times D. Alright? So if A and D are outer terms, what are our inner terms?
So, of course, letter B. No?
Yes.
And then
B
C.
And
C.
C. So pasabot, we have to multiply B,
B and
C. And last term, since these are our first, ang atong mga last is of course, we have
B
and D.
D.
So pag mag-multiply tag last terms, we have to multiply B times
D.
Okay? So mo lang natong timan-an. We have to, it is very important to identify the FOIL para makabalo mo unsa nga terms ang atong i-multiply. Because if dili mao, nanay gyud something wrong sa imong solutions. And ang tendency, wrong na din imong answer. Okay?
Yes.
So let's have an example.
Okay.
Okay, so our example here is we have x minus 6. What is x minus 6 multiplied by x minus 2? Okay, so using the FOIL method, mapasayo na to ang pag-multiply ani nga mga terms. We have here binomial times binomial. Take note, ang FOIL method magamit lang pag mag-multiply tag binomial and binomial. Pag mono and binomial or binomial times trinomial, you can no longer use the FOIL method. Wala na siya first, outer, inner, and last.
So, muna dapat timan-an sa itong
That's
mga
right.
learners.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's find the product of x minus 6 multiplied by x minus 2. So we have to start with the F, the first terms. Sir Abapo, what are our first terms here? We have A times C man.
X.
We
and
have
then
x times
X.
That's right. What is x times x? That is equal to?
X squared.
That's right, x
Yes.
squared. Next is O,
O,
outer,
outer.
gawas. So that means we have to multiply x and
X and negative 2.
What is x times negative 2? It is equal to negative 2x. That is right.
Yes.
Inner terms, sulod. So that means we have to multiply negative 6 multiplied by x. Negative 6 multiplied by x is equal to negative 6x. And L stands for last term. So we have to multiply negative 6 and negative 2. That is negative 6 times negative 2 is equal to positive 12. So we already have here the product for the FOIL or the FOIL. And then after that is we have to combine. Let us erase this first. If there are like terms to nga pwede siya ma-combine, then you have to combine. Pero pag wala na yung terms nga pwede ma-combine, then your answers would be final na dayon. Okay, so we have here x squared minus 2x minus 6x plus 12. So basically, by looking at their products, do we have like terms? Balik ko na to, Sir Abapo. Pag
Yes.
mag-ingon maghisgot tag like terms,
Like
these are actually terms nga same og literal coefficient. So pasabot, same siya variable, at the same time, same siya og exponent. So let's start with the x squared. Do we have other x squareds here? Wala na.
Yes.
So wala siya like terms, so pasabot, isulat na to siya sa itong final answer. Next is x. Do we have other x here? Nga na literal coefficient nga x? Yes. So we have here the negative 2x and the negative
Negative
6x. So if we're going to combine these two, again, in combining, all we have to do is add or subtract their numerical coefficient and copy the literal
Yeah,
coefficient.
yes.
So since we have here negative 2 and negative 6, if we're going to add these two, negative 2 plus negative 6, that is equal to negative 8.
8.
So therefore, this is equal to negative 8x. Napabala yung x, Sir Abapo?
Wala na.
Wala na. So
Yes.
that means we have to write it on our final answer. So we have already have here x squared minus at 8x, and we have here a constant 12. Do we have other constant here?
Wala.
Na. So therefore, this is now
I-copy na
our
siya.
final product. So our answer is x squared minus 8x plus 12.
12.
So that's it. Again, this is how we multiply two binomials by using FOIL method. Okay, so let's proceed to the second one. The second one, Sir Abapo, is
Product of the sum and difference of two terms. So, the sum and the difference of two terms are two binomials with the same terms but differ in operation sign. So, one is addition and the other one is subtraction.
actually mura ba ni pinakadali, Sir Abapo, no?
Oh, okay.
Yes, pinakadali siya in the case nga dali na kay makita pud ang pattern at the same time dali na pud makita ang iyahang product.
So, mas dali siya sa katong ganina.
Yes, it's
Okay.
actually shorter ang process ani, Sir Abapo.
So, mas mubo pa nako.
Kinda. Kung tanan mo sa mga galingon is mubo ka, yes, Sir Abapo, mas
Okay.
mubo pa sa imong height. Okay, so what would be our model for this special product? So if I have here, when we talk about difference of, sum and difference of two binomials or two terms, that would be, basically, we have here a plus b multiplied by a minus b. So in this case, inaani daw ang mahitabo pag sum and difference of two terms. Pasabot, ang isa plus, ang isa minus. They have the same ang iyahang first terms and last terms. So basically, Sir Abapo, pag mag-multiply tag sum and difference of two terms, all we have to do, Sir Abapo, is get the square of the first minus square of the last term. Nga nung nahitabo man ni siya. So, it's only the product of two terms. Actually, pag mag-use ng distributive property, Sir Abapo, is it's ma-eliminate ang ihang middle term. So, pasabot, if we have to multiply a times a, ato ipakita nila, Sir Abapo, how we have
of
a
course,
squared.
para mas maklaro nila, no?
Yes. A times a is a squared. A times negative b, that would be negative ab. Kung inner terms na punta, a times b, that would be positive ab. And for last terms, b times b, that would be a negative b squared. So by looking at their products, we have similar terms. Unsa man? Kining puro ab.
Yes, positive
And
AB.
since it's a negative and it's a positive, so therefore, 1 minus 1, that is equal to 0.
Zero.
So no need na siya butang ang product. So,
Yes.
kung saan na lang may nabilin, so we already have here a squared minus b squared.
squared.
So, pasabot, if we're going to model this product, all we have to do is get the square of the first and get the square of the second. As simple
So,
as
mas mubo
that.
na siya.
Yes,
Mubo na gid
shorter na siya. So, maski pag di ka magamit og distributive property, dili ka magamit og FOIL method, by using this model, you can get the correct product.
Pero
So,
if ang ilahang sign is di kaan siya kanang opposite siya.
opposite siya, what do you mean, Sir Abapo? This is
Ah,
negative first.
Yes.
Minus ni siya una, din kini siya
and then-
plus.
So okay lang yapon.
Yes, it's okay because we have a associative property for multiplication. Pasabot, no, it's not associative, it's commutative property for multiplication. Pasabot, ang A times B o B times A, pareha ra
Same
siya.
ra.
Same ra.
Yes.
So, maski pag mag-interchange ni silang duha, Sir Abapo, the product is still
Yes,
the
kay
same.
mamgunay kasagaran pod nga malibgan gud sa to mga learners.
That is right, Sir Abapo.
Ang mga sign.
Correct.
Mga
So,
operations.
learners, dili malimot, it could be A plus B times A minus B or A minus B times A plus B. As long as you see that the other one is sum and the other one is difference
Yes.
of these two terms, all you have to do is simply get the square of the first and square of the
Last,
second.
yes.
Alright, so let's have an example, Sir Abapo.
Okay.
So, let's use this model in multiplying this sum and difference of two terms. If we have here x plus 3 multiplied by x minus 3. So basically, this is sum and difference of two terms. So the product here would be, again, simply get the square of the first and square the second. So x, the first term is x, so let's square it. That would be x squared. And then it's always minus because the other one is positive and the other one is negative. So it's negative 3 squared, that would be 9. So pasabot, the product of x plus 3 multiplied by x minus 3 is equal to x squared minus 9. Another, some another example, Sir Abapo.
So ana nagadi siya kadali no.
Yes, Sir
Short
Abapo.
gid siya kaysa sa katong kinaunhan. Mas mo prefer ko ani kung ani pa rin mo gawa sa exam.
Sa exam.
Yes, perfect ko ani.
Atong balihon ba? 2n plus 5 and 2n minus 5.
5.
Alright, so again, this example is a difference of sum. Ay, wait. Balihon na to para mas makaingon niya sila nga. Same lang itong example. So 2n minus 5 and 2n plus 5. Alright, so even if you're going to interchange the two, as long as the other one is difference and the other one is a sum, so pasabot, makagamit na sa ito ang pattern or model. Okay, so if we're going to get the product of 2n minus 5 multiplied by 2n plus 5, this would be equal to, just get the square of the first. Our first term is 2n. So the square of 2n would be, kita na to ha, that is 2n times 2n. So that is equal to 4n squared. So this is now 4n squared minus, the second term is 5. So if we're going to get the square of 5, that is 5 times 5. And that is equal to 25. So the product is 4n squared minus 25. Okay? As simple as that. Again, this special product is called sum and difference of two terms. Alright? So let's proceed to the third special product, Sir Abapo.
Okay, so the third is square of a binomial. No? A square of a binomial is a binomial with an exponent of 2. Okay, so Ma'am Elvie, unsa man ang ato ang buhaton aning sa square of a binomial?
Okay, so from the word itself, square of a binomial, meaning binomial siya nga ato siyang gi-multiply by itself. Okay, so gi-square siya. So basically, if we're going to get a, or to write a model out of this would be a plus b squared, meaning kaduhaon na to
Kaduhaon
siya.
na siya.
Oo.
Ang say sulod ana.
Yes,
Okay.
square of a binomial.
Binomial.
Manay pasabot niya.
Okay.
Okay, so if we're going to expand this, actually this is equal to a plus b times a plus b. Di ba? Kung ato siyang i-expand. And if we're going to use the distributive property, basically this is, sige, let's use the, atong ipakita nila ha para makita nila ang pattern on yan.
Okay.
Okay, so if we're going to use the distributive property or the FOIL method, this will, a plus b multiplied by a plus b or a plus b squared is equal to, first terms we have here, a squared. And then outer, we have a times b, that is positive ab. And then the inner, we have a b times a, that is equal also to ab.
Yes.
And then b times b, that is equal to b squared. And since we have like terms here, ab and ab, it's understood that it has a numerical coefficient nga 1, so that is 1 plus 1, that is equal to 2. So pasabot, this is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So basically, unsay na-notice ni mo, Sir Abapo, what would be ang thing nga atong timan-an if we're going to square a binomial? Alright, so makita na to, Sir Abapo, no, nga the product is trinomial, no? Trinomial, Sir Abapo, right? It's trinomial. And, unsay na-notice na to sa tong first term? The first term is a square of our first term given binomial, alright? And the middle term is what? It's just equal to twice. Kaduha siya ang product ni A ug B. So pasabot, kining duha ato siyang i-times, then i-times 2, that is automatically the middle term. And the last is the square of the second term of the given binomial. Okay, so mao ni siya ang atong model nga atong sundon. So in this case, pasabot, if we're going to square a binomial, it's just equal to, again, the square of the first, then plus twice the product of the first and the second, and then the last term would be the square also of the second given term of the binomial. Okay? So, mauna tong timan answer abapo
Sige.
in multiplying. So,
Okay, learners, muna yung timanan ha.
akong i-erase balik ha para makita. Ako na
Kay-
kung gipakita on sa
Kay
distributive
gi-erase na
property.
ni ma'am. So, timan, gina ninyo.
No! Ang atong buhaton, Sir Jade Mark, is atong i-write ang model para mas
okay.
makita nila.
Okay.
Again, unsa ganito, Sir Abapo? It's just equal to the square of...
Of the first,
That's right. And the middle term is...
the product, no? Twice.
Correct.
Products.
Twice the product of the first and the
Yes.
second. And the last one is...
The square of
The
the
square of
second
the
term or the
second
last
term.
term.
Ingon ana lang ka-simple timan-an. Alright?
Naka-remember ganit ko, di ba? So,
That's
naka-remember
right.
siya.
Okay, so let's have an example. Alright, so in this case, let us multiply the square of x plus 2. Okay. So, kung dili na ta kinahanglan mag-use of distributive property just to get the product of this, or ato pa na siyang i-expand, then magamit tag foil. Nanatay pattern nga itong sundon. And what is that? This is just equal to the square of the first plus twice the product of the first and the second and the square of the last. So, let's use that model in solving this example. So, in this case, our first term is x. So, the answer would be
X squared.
very good.
Yes.
Sir Abapo.
Very good.
We have to get the square of the first.
Yes.
Next is, we have to get the product of the first and the second and then multiply it by 2. So in this case, our first is x, our second is 2. So let's multiply x times 2, that is equal to 2x. And then twice
But-
man, so i-times na to siya og 2.
Two,
So
yes.
2x times 2, that would be
Four-
positive,
positive 4x.
Yes, that is right. And then lastly, we have to square the second.
The second
So let's
term.
square 2, that is 2 times 2, that is equal to 4. Alright, so nanatay product, that is equal to x squared plus 4x plus 4. So
Sayon na
yun,
giday
ana
siya,
lang
no?
kadali.
Mga sayon na jud kaayo siya, Ma'am LV, no?
Yes.
Sa mga learners nato, makuha giday ni siya. Basta i-follow lang gid ninyo tong giingon ni Ma'am
Model.
LV, katong model, no? But nagdepende pud sa unsa nga mga terms ang
Correct.
gihatag, di ba? Or
So, dili na to ni gamiton og katong sum
Yes,
and
dili
difference
na
of
siya
two
pwede.
squares. Kay,
Yes.
like, you have to tanaw po nimo ang atong given if that fits with the model. So, kung square of binomial, of course, you have to use the square of binomial. If it's sum and difference of two terms, then you have to also use the sum and difference of two terms nga model. Alright?
Okay.
So, we're done with the square of two terms. Alright? So,
let's proceed to
the next one.
Next one. So we have the cube of binomial. So it is a binomial with an exponent of 3. Of course, kay cube man siya, ma'am.
That is
So
right.
na siya exponent of 3. Okay, Ma'am LV. So please explain, no? Kung saan
Okay,
siya.
so, ang cube of binomial, so probably, if natay square of binomial gani nato, exponent is 2. For cube, the exponent is already 3.
Yes.
Okay, so let us model that thing. Actually, Sir Abapo, mo ni siya yung medyo taas-taas. Okay, na-raise naman siya exponent into 3.
Yes.
But if you're going to, again, use this model for the special products, then, in finding the product is quite
Dali ra kay
easier.
siya.
That is right. So, if we have here a plus b, pasabutan ng cube of a binomial.
Binomial.
So, actually, cube of binomial is just equal to the cube of the first. The next is, since it's cube man siya, that would be 3. And the next is, we have to square the first
First.
term. So, pasabot, 3 times the square of the first term multiplied by the second.
Yes.
And if sa second term is gi-square na to si first, sa third term, Sir Abapo, is thrice gihapon siya, times 3 gihapon
Yes.
siya. But this time, ang ato na pong i-square is si second. So,
Okay.
pasabot, this would be 3 times A times B squared. And then lastly, is we have to get the cube of the second term. So, same gihapon sa square nga ang end, gi-square nimo si second term.
Yes.
Sa cube pod of a binomial, gi-cube pod nato si second term. If
Okay.
you're going to expand this one, well, it takes time. Pero, ang pasabot ng galing cube of a plus b, this would be a plus b multiplied by a plus b multiplied by a plus b. So, medyo taas gid siya. Kaya nga naman, magamit kag FOIL method.
And the product of this will be
Yeah, so medyo
multiplied.
taas yun siya, no?
That is right. Will be multiplied to
agian.
the third binomial. Kay katulo man siya, giraise man siya katulo. So, that is why it's quite longer. It's a quite longer process. But
Yes.
if we have to use the model, then there's no need for us to
Sa
use
yun na gyud
the
kayo.
distributive, neither the FOIL method.
Yes.
Okay?
Muna kong favorite yung mga topics sa una mga LV.
So, sa tanang special products or abapo, this is medyo ang pinakataas.
Yes.
The cube of binomial. Alright? So, again, let us have an example using this model.
Okay? So,
Alright. So, we have here, if we have here, x plus 2
cube.
cube. Alright.
Okay.
So, using this model, then we have to, again, first cube the first term. So, our first term is x. Therefore, this would be equal to
X cube.
x cubed. That is
Yes.
right. And the next is, we have to square the first, multiplied by the second, and then multiplied it by 3. So, let's
Okay.
do that thing.
So,
let's square the first, that is x
X
squared. Times 2,
That is
2x
2x
squared.
squared, yes.
Times 3, that is 6x squared.
Yes.
Alright.
Diba?
Then, next is, we have to square the second, then multiply it by the first, and then multiply it by 3. So,
3.
let's do that. Let's square the second. This is equal to 4. 4 times the first, 4x. Times 3, that is 12x. That is right. And then, lastly, is of course, we
Cube.
have to cube the second term. So, this is 2 cube. Pasabot, 2 times 2 times 2. And what is 2 times 2 times 2? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. That is right. So, we already have here, we're done.
Yes.
This is now the product of the cube of a binomial. That is equal to
very
x cubed
simple.
plus 6x squared plus 12x plus 8. All
Very
right.
simple kay ni Ma'am LV. No? Okay, so
Let's proceed.
let's proceed to the solving product of binomial and trinomial. So the FOIL method cannot be used in this case since it is only applicable in getting the product of two binomials. But the distributive property can still be used in this case. So solving product of binomial and trinomial can easily be solved if it is satisfies these three cases.
Go, Sir Abapo. What
So,
are these 3 cases?
The first is, the first term of the trinomial is the square of the first term of the binomial. And then the second second term of the trinomial is the negative of the product of the first term and second term of the binomial. And the third case is the last term of the trinomial is the square of the second term of the binomial. Okay, Ma'am LV, so it's your turn to explain
Okay.
further.
So, thank you for reading, Sir Abapo. Alright, so, thus, product of a binomial and trinomial is basically magamit yung distributive property. Distributive property is always present in multiplying.
Yes.
Okay? So, ang mahitabuan ni Sir Abapo, since we're talking about special, so it won't require us a long solution. So, pasabot, naani siya, nag-exist ni siya, it's because naa siya technique, okay, in finding the product. But, it's a special case. Tawag po siya special case. Nga naman, because we have to satisfy these 3 cases. Kato yung gihisgutan ka ganina. We can only apply this thing if mo satisfy siya ani nga mga butang. Again, first, if mag-multiply ko no kag binomial and a trinomial, nga ang trinomial is a square of the first, and the middle term, ang first term is the square of the first, ang middle term is the negative. Negative daw of the product of these 2, and the last of the trinomial is the square of this. All we have to do is just simply get the cube of the first and cube of the second of the binomial. So in this case, the product is x cubed. What is the cube of our second? That is 2 times 2 times 2, and that is equal to 8. So, ingon-ani lang siya, Sir Abapo, kadali.
Wow.
Okay?
Amazing
So,
siya.
all we have to do
Amazing.
is get the cube of the first and cube of the second term of the given binomial.
Yes.
Ma-apply lang ni siya if, yun nga, the trinomial is, the first term is the square of this, the second term is the negative of the product of these 2, and the last term is the square of the second.
If one of the three cases won't dili siya present
Dili siya
sa abapo,
ma-satisfy.
then ayaw na lang pagdahom nga magamit ito
Magamit
sa special
na,
products.
yes.
Maggamit na din ka og distributive property. In that case, you have to multiply
Yes.
1 by 1.
If atong tulo, wala siya diri nakita.
If example, the first term is yes, square lagi siya. Example sa abapo no. X minus 3, dayon x squared siya. Pero like this, this is now 3 times 3, that's 27. So, inani sir abapo, example lang ni siya, learners. So, in this example, this is a product of a binomial and a trinomial. But let us check kung magamit na to itong i-cube lang ang first o i-cube lang ang second.
Yes.
Let's check. The trinomial is the square of the first. Mo man ay first case.
Yes, sakto siya.
Correct.
Na.
Okay, the second case is
It's the
it's a
negative.
negative of the
Product.
product.
The product of the two terms.
Oo. Actually, this is correct. But if we're going to change it the negative because minus, manggod siya sa abapo. Okay. So,
Okay.
So, in this case, it's a negative of the second term. Pero, here, we already taking the positive.
Yes.
Okay? So, in this case, pag ang isa sa ilaha dili present, pasabot, you can no longer use this cube the first and the cube the second. Alright? So, as simple as that. So, kana lang atong gipanghisgutan. Pila to ka buok special products nga atong hisgutan sa abapo?
So,
5?
there are 5.
Okay, so balik ko na to. The foil,
Yes.
special product of binomials. The
Sum
second
and-
is the
sum and
sum and
difference.
difference.
Yes.
And the third one is the square of
binomial.
binomial. Then the fourth one is the cube of binomial. And lastly, the product of
product of the-
binomial
and then
and trinomial. Okay, so it's quite longer, but we do hope that you learn also with our things nga itong i-discuss this afternoon. Okay,
Yes.
so grade 8 learners, magpaabot kita after a short break. Again, this is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we
And we are back, still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Okay, Sir Jade Mark. So, humatas ng grade 7 na lesson.
Okay.
So, we will now proceed to our grade 8. So, Sir Jade Mark, what is our grade 8 competency?
Rights of proof, both direct and indirect.
Indirect. Okay, so, basically, last week, Sir Abapo, na humanatag hisgot about reasoning.
Yes.
So, mag-talk na po tayo about proof. So, when we talk about proof, it is a logical argument in which each statement you make is supported or justified by the given information, definition, actions, postulates, theorems, and previously proven statements. Okay, so proofs can be written in two different ways. So, mo nito hisgutan this afternoon.
Yes, no,
So,
very
we have-
interesting na topic.
It's quite interesting.
Yes.
So, we have here the direct proof and indirect
Direct.
proof. Okay, so basically, morning ang proof ato ang magamit. So, we have to start with the direct proof. Okay, Sir Abapo, what do we mean by direct proof?
Okay, so to perform a direct proof, you take the original conditional statement and assume that P or the hypothesis is
True.
true. And show that Q or the conclusion is true also. So in other words, we start from P, then we think of everything that is possible and true from it, no, until we reach Q.
Alright, so ang pinaka-basic nga example sa itong direct proof nga normally nakakita sa itong mga learners is
yes.
actually the two-column
Yes.
proof. So, mao gini ato ang makita sa geometry in proving. So, basically, two-column, pasabot na atay given statement,
Yes.
and reason.
Reason.
So, muna siya gitawag nga two-column proof. So, the direct proof is, yes, basically, muna siya nga itong two-column proof. So, as you have said earlier, Sir Abapo, no, that in direct proving, we have to start with the given statement. And, of course, we have to use all the possible things na wherein ang atong conclusion dito ta mo end.
Yes.
Okay? And that shows the proving. That is a direct proof. So we have here an example for direct proof. As you can see, we have there. So given measure of angle SEP is equal to the measure of angle TER. So as you can see in the figure, you have there. So we have to prove here that measure of angle 1 is equal to measure of angle 3. Now, using the two-column proof we have here, nakita na po na ninyo diha, learners. So, of course, gagamit ng tag-direct proof ani, we have to start with, of course, the given. Sa two-column proof, Sir Abapo, is magsugod yun ta basically sa given.
Given,
Okay.
yes.
So, our given there is the measure of angle SEP is equal to measure of angle TER. So, ang reason ana niya is, of course, given.
Given.
Kay given, di mo ginamalalis.
Yes, mo na gid na siya.
Yes. And then by that given, we could say that the measure of angle SEP is equal to the measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2. Since the measure of angle SEP is equal to measure of angle TER. As you can see on our figure,
Yes.
look at the measure of angle TER. That covers the measure of angle TER. So, the measure of angle 2 and 3.
3.
Okay, that is TER. Okay. So, actually, ang reason ani ikaduhang statement din nato, Sir Abapo, is angle addition postulate. Okay, so ang SEP manggod, tanaw na to ang measure of angle SEP that covers measure of angle 1 and angle 2. So, pasabot ang ato ang second statement nga measure of angle SEP that is equal to measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2. Same with our third statement, which is
Yes.
measure of angle TER. That covers measure of angle
2.
2 and
And then the
3.
3.
So, the
Yes.
reason is angle addition postulate.
Same magyapon sila
That's
sa...
right. So, in that case, from our given statement sa first given, statement number 1, measure of angle SEP is equal to measure of angle TER. So, by substitution property, mahulog, Sir Abapo, nga ang measure of angle 1 di plus measure of angle 2 is just the same as measure of angle 2
Two,
plus
and then-
measure of angle 3.
Yes.
That shows that measure of angle SEP is equal to measure of angle TER. Okay, so again, our reason ana is substitution property. And in this case, since we have measure of angle 2 is equal to measure of angle 2, that is a reflexive property, equal naman na silang duha, so unsa na lang may nabilin. Measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 3. That is actually ang atong thing atong i-prove, diba, Sir Abapo? So in this case, we are already proving the given statement, or the given statement. Yes, measure of angle 1 is equal to measure of angle 3. Again, the reason of that is subtraction property. So as you can see, gagamit matag direct proof. Balik ta sa direct proof, Sir Abapo, no? Ang direct proof di ay is we have to start with the given and end with the proving nga katong statement nga atong gusto nga i-prove.
Yes.
Mo na ihang pasabot. So as you can see in the process, it's a step by step. Panang it's a continuous process. All the possible statements nga mo end gyud ta sa ato ang gusto nga i-prove, mao din hatong i-support in
Mura siya
atong proving.
something in programming kuan is that is an algorithm.
Wow,
Yes,
that's
an algorithm, a step-by-step process of solving a problem.
That is right.
Yes.
And you have to end with the conclusion or
Yes.
imong output.
So ang
diba,
imuhang
Sir
gusto
Abapo?
nga
Ipagawas.
output, no? Dapat mo-output na siya ma-output sa imong algorithm nga gibuhat.
That is right.
Yes.
It's a very good example, Sir Abapo.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. So, that's it. And what about for indirect proof? Alright, so when we say indirect proof, Sir Abapo,
Okay, so it is a method of reasoning, usually written in paragraph form. So the opposite of the statement to be proven is assumed true until the assumption leads to contradiction. So there are steps put to follow when proving indirectly. No? Okay, so the first one is the assume the opposite of the conclusion. So we have to write the opposite of the statement. And then, Ma'am LV,
okay, so then after that, you have to proceed as this assumption is true to find contradiction. Take the statement as true and solve. Then once there is a contradiction, then pasabot, the original statement is true. So we have here an example for indirect proof. Okay, so as you can see there, so given points D, G, and E are collinear with G. Pasabot, they belong to,
sa G.
okay, one line.
One line, yes.
So between D and E. Now points F is not on segment DE.
DE, yes.
Now we have to prove that the measure of angle DGF is not equal to 180 degrees.
Okay.
Okay, so there we already have the proof. Okay, so we have to start with assume that measure of angle DGF is equal to 180 degrees. Mo ni siya ang kalainan sa direct proof, sir. So, kung sa direct proof, we have to start with the given. Sa indirect proof is we have to start with the conclusion. I-assume nato nga ang conclusion is false. Dili siya tinuod.
So, opposite siya sa kung unsay imuhang kung unsay naa given.
Yes.
So, given is not equal to 180, so atong i-assume nga si measure sa DGF is equal to 180.
180, that is
Okay.
right. Given nga gusto nimo
Gusto
i-prove,
i-prove,
or that is
yes.
a conclusion. Okay? So, we have to start there. And as you can see, there are supporting, it's written in a paragraph form. There are supporting statements there. And for the last paragraph, we have there, by the angle measurement postulate, an angle measures between 0 and 180. But since the measure of angle FGE is equal to 0, this means that there is no angle formed. Diba? Kung 0 degree, wala
Yes,
di angle
wala.
nga ma-form. This implies that F is on DE. Naa daw siya sa DE. This contradicts, but we have there that the given that point F is on is not on DE.
Yes.
But as we can see in our proving that nakita nato dito nga si F is on DE, and that contradicts the given. Okay?
Yes.
So kay naa na may contradiction, therefore the assumption is false. False na din siya sa Abapo. So, pasabot, the measure of angle DGF is proven that it is not equal to 180 degrees. Okay? So, inana lang sa Abapo, no? Ang direct proof and indirect proof. Sa direct proof, we have to start with the given and ends with the conclusion nga itong gustong i-prove. But in the direct proof, indirect proof, we have to assume the conclusion nga dili to siya mao
yes, nga false to siya.
False to siya, okay? And if na contradiction mahitabo, that proves already the statement or the hypothesis. All right? So, that's it for our grade 8 lesson. Grade 9 learners, stay tuned because we will be right back after a short break. This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Addition o multiplication, subtraction o ang division. Problema dali rasulbaron, kay ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Ang mati ay sayon. Ang mati ay sayon.
And we are back, still here in
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Okay, Ma'am Elvino, before ta mo proceed sa ato ang topic for Mathematics 9 nga mga learners, no? Ato ang i-remind ang mga learners kanaan na ang ilahang second attendance marker makita na ibabaw sa screen. So place up, place. Okay, sorry. Please take note. Isura kay istorya lagi Ma'am Elvie.
It's okay, sir.
Okay, so Ma'am Elvie, proceed na ta.
Alright, so grade 9 competency for this afternoon is we have to multiply, perform operations on radical expressions. This time, we're focusing on multiplication and division of radical expressions because we are actually done with the addition and subtraction of radical expressions. Okay, so before we proceed to multiplying radical expressions, let us have a short review first.
Yes.
Sir Abapo, what do we mean by a radical expression?
Okay, so it is an expression containing the symbol and then called radical sign. So in the radical square root of n, a to the exponent of m, n is called the index or order which indicates the degree of the radical, such as square root, cube root, and fourth root. And then the a to the exponent of m is called the radicand, which is a number or expression inside the radical symbol, and m is the power of exponent of the radicand.
Alright, so as you can see here, we have here the nth root of a to the power of m. Again, all the expressions having this symbol are examples of radical expression. And then this n here stands for, of course, our index, and tanang terms nga sulod sa radical symbol, they are called radicand.
Radicand.
All right. So now let us have the multiplication of radical expressions. So let us show it to them direct the law of radicals na atong gamiton for multiplication of radicals. All right. So let us have the first example. First example, direct. Can we have the first example? All right. So we have there, we have the cube root of 9 times the cube root of 3. All right. So as you can see here, we have multiplication of radical expressions. So they are both having an index of 3. They are both cube root. And yes, if we're going to multiply radical expressions, all we have to do is using the law of radicals. As you can see there, sa law of radicals na itong gamitin in multiplication, if we have here the nth root of A, nakita ninyo na sa yung screen, times the nth root of B is equal to the nth root of A times B. Basically, we have to copy the index and multiply their radicands. So in this case, we have here same index, which is cube root. So all we have to do is, using the law of radicals, all we have to do is copy. And the next is multiply the radicands. Their radicands is we have here 9 and 3. So 9 times 3 is equal to 27. Oh, it looks familiar. Cube root of 27. Okay, so in multiplication of radicals, we have to make sure that our final answer is in simplest form. Pasabot, dili na gid siya mas simplify. Okay, so by looking at our product here, we have here cube root of 27. And can we still simplify this cube root of 27?
Yes, of course, LV.
Wow. Okay, so right, it's correct. We could still simplify the cube root of 27, and actually 27 is a perfect cube number. Okay, so what is the cube root of 27? Or unsay number nga itong i-multiply itself 3 times, the product is 27. That is equal to 3.
Yes, 3.
Okay, so that is equal to 3. Why? Because 3 times 3 is equal to 9, 9 times 3 is equal to 27. Pasabot, cube root of 27 is equal to 3. Alright, so yes, that's it. We have to be careful ha, dapat ato gid siyang i-simplify. Okay, now what about this next example? If we have here 2 square root of 10 multiplied by 5 square root of 3. Okay, as you can see, it's different from our first example because we don't have a coefficient, numerical coefficient before the radical expression. As you can see, nanatay number nga 2 og 5. So in this case, unsa na to pag-multiply? So same thing gihapon sa abapo, no? But of course, since we have numerical coefficients, ato po silang i-multiply. So since we have here 2 and 5, then let's multiply 2 times 5, that is equal to 10. So basically, we have here 10. And since we are multiplying same index, so that means we have to copy the index. So pasabot, square root gihapon ang atong product. And then multiply the radicands. We have here 10 and 3. 10 times 3 is equal to 30. Alright, so we now have the product of 10 square root of 30. And let's check. Square root of 30, we still simplify square root of 30? 30 is not a perfect square. But do we have factors of 30 which are perfect square? Wala, no? We have 6 times 5. 6 and 5 are both not perfect squares. 2 times 10. Okay, so therefore, this is now our final answer. So, the product of 2 square root of 10 times 5 square root of 3 is equal to 10 square root of 30. Now, let's have our third example. What about this example? We have here square root of 6 multiplied by square root of 3 plus square root of 12. Okay, so it's different from our first and our second example. Gihapon sa abapo, no? Here, we are already multiplying one term and by 2 terms. So, here, we can use now the distributive property since nag-involve na siya og more than one term. Okay, so pag magamit ang distributive property, again, we have to multiply first the mono or the first term there outside the parenthesis to each term inside the parenthesis. So, pasabot, we have to multiply square root of 6 by square root of 3 and then after that, square root of 6 multiplied by square root of 12. Okay, let's do that. Square root of 6 times square root of 3, same index, so square root gihapon ni. 6 times 3 is equal to 18. Next is, human naman sa first, dito na punta sa ikaduha nga term. So we have here square root times 6 times square root of 12. And we know that same index, copy lang, so that is positive. Square root gihapon, 6 times 12 is equal to 72. Alright, so this is now square root of 18 plus square root of 72. And let's check. ato tagsa-tagsa kay na naman tay two terms no nga product. Tagsa-tagsa na tug i-check kung ma-simplify ba ang kada isa. Square root of 18. Can we still simplify square root of 18? Yes, we could
Yes.
still because factors of 18 napatay isa ka perfect square. And that
Yes.
is 9 times 2.
2.
So therefore, we have here square root of 18 is equal to square root of 9 times 2. And si square root of 72 mas simplify pa pod.
Yes.
And that is equal to 36
36
and
times
2.
Yes,
Okay, so 36 times
times
2. So, yes, makasimplify pa nato. So, let's simplify. Square root of 9 is equal to 3.
3.
So, therefore, this is now 3 square root of 2. And then the second one, square root of 36, that is equal to 6. Because 6 times 6 is equal to 36. So, this is now 6 square root of 2.
Yes.
Okay, so na-simplify na. But, pwede pa gid siya ma-simplify, Sir Abapo. Why? Because, as you can see, like terms naman siya.
Okay.
Same na siya og radicand, same po siya og index. So, pasabot,
So, pwede
we
na
can
siya.
combine the two.
Yes, pwede siya ma-add.
Because, balik ko na to no review, we can only add or subtract radical expressions if they have same radicand and same index. So they are both square root and they are both square root of 2. So pasabot maka-simplify ma-add na to ang ilahang coefficient nga 3 og 6. So 6 plus 3 or 3 plus 6 that is equal to
9.
9. So our final answer would be 9 square root of 2.
2.
Okay, so it's quite longer. Take note, if we're going to multiply one term by two terms, again, we can use the distributive property. And take note, dili lang kay pag mag-distribute, final answer na. Take note, i-double check ang answer. Dapat kung ma-simplify pa, i-simplify it. Okay? So this is now the product. Okay, let's proceed to our next example. What about, Sir Abapo, if we have two terms multiplied by two terms? Kung man naman ta sa one term
Yes.
multiplied by 2. So, what about two terms multiplying two terms? Actually, same gihapon ni siya sa binomials. Ang makagamit gihapon ta og foil.
Foil, yes.
Kay ang foil, again, magamit ni siya og binomial times
Binomial.
Okay. So, let's consider this example. If we have here square root of 2 minus square root of 7 multiplied by square root of 3 plus square root of 6. Okay, so, balik ko na to ang foil. We have first, outer, inner, last. So, ako nag-ibutang diri sa Abapo kay.
Para
Ang
mas
ubang learners
klaro.
kay mas sayunan sila pag makabutang ni siya.
Yes.
Okay, so first, una. So, therefore, we have to multiply square root of 2 by square root of 3. Square root of 2 multiplied by square root of 3, and that is equal to square root of 6. That is right. Outer, we have here square root of 2 multiplied by square root of 6. Kaya mo na yung mga outer terms.
Yes.
So, square root of 2 multiplied by square root of 6, that is equal to square root of 2 times 6, 12. Okay, next, inner, sulod. So, we have here negative square root of 7 multiplied by square root of 3.
3.
So, 7 times 3, that is equal to 21. So, this is equal to negative square root of
21.
And lastly, we have here square root of 7, negative square root of 7 multiplied by positive square root of 6.
Yes.
So, 7 times 6, that is equal to
42.
42. So, we have here the first, the outer, the inner, and the last.
last.
Now, let's check if napatay mas simplify. Napabay pwede mas simplify, Sir Abapo?
Yes.
Square root of 6, wala na.
Wala.
Ang square root of 12.
12. Yes, na.
Okay, so ang square root of 12, we have
have
here
the
4 and 3.
4.
4 times 3 because 4 is a perfect square. So, pasabot, masimplify siya. Square root of 4, that is equal to 2. So, therefore, this is now 2 square root of 3. What about the square root of 21? Wala kay factors nga perfect square. What about the
Same
42?
with the 42.
Okay.
Wala gyapon.
So, therefore, since wala man na masimplify, kinira sa square root of 12, pasabot, our product would now be, let's start with the first, square root of 6, then plus 2 square root of 3, next inner, we have negative square root of 21, and then minus square root of 42. So this is now our product. Alright? So that's it. That is how we multiply radicals. Okay, so this time, let us proceed to the division of radical expressions. Okay, so
Sir, how or unsa gani ato ang law of radicals na gamiton for division?
Okay, so to divide radicals, this law of radicals may be applied, no? So the nth root of A over the nth root of B is equal to the
Nth
nth root of A over B, where
Alright.
B is greater than
Then 0.
0.
Dapat greater than 0 kaya ma-undefine naman din siya.
Yes.
Okay, so here in dividing radical expressions, yes, we can use this law and we can also use rinumdum ka sir aba po na tagitawag nga rationalization.
Yes.
When we talk about rationalization, it is the process of removing the radical sign in the denominator. So mangita gyud tag paagi nga ma-remove ang radical symbol sa denominator.
denominator.
So let us have an example. So if we're going to divide square root of 15 divided by square root of 6x. Okay, so again in dividing radical expressions, same ra siya og mag-rationalize ta. Kung mag-rationalize ta, pasabot we are eliminating the radical symbol in the denominator. So in this case, kining square root of 15 over square root of 6, mahitabo ani is we have to multiply kining square root of 15 over square root of 6, we have to multiply whatever unsay naa sa denominator nimo.
Yes.
Nga naman, that is how we do the rationalization. Kay para ma-eliminate nato ang atong radical symbol sa
Yes.
denominator. So in this case, our denominator is square root of 6x. Therefore, we have to multiply both numerator and denominator by square root of 6x. So, nani mahitabo. Okay, and then simplify. So, we have here square root of 15 times square root of 6x. Square root of 15 times square root of 6x is equal to, let's multiply the numerator.
Square root of
90x.
90x.
Okay, then the denominator, square root of 6x multiplied by square root of 6x is equal to square root of 36x
squared.
Alright. So, we have here square root of 90x over square root of 36x squared. As you can see in our denominator, ang kanang mahimong radical, mo ni siyang purpose nga nang mag-multiply tag same sa denominator. Why? Because automatically, if you multiply the number itself, pasabot nag-square siya. So,
Yes.
pasabot, ang radical dinhi is already a perfect square.
Yes.
Right? So, in this case, we can simplify. So, we can simplify. Actually, we can also simplify the numerator. Ato na lang ni siyang diretsoon sa abakon.
Idungan na lang silang duha.
Yes, idungan nato silang simplify.
Yes.
So, square root of 90x is mas-simplify siya and that is equal to 9
Square root of 9 times 10x.
Correct, because 9 is a perfect square.
Yes.
So, this means that is equal to square root of 9 times 10x. Over, ang square root of 36x squared, pasabot, that is equal to ato pa man ni
Paano
siyang-
lang siyang
Sige, ato na lang ni siyang paon para di na mo maglibo.
Yes.
We can already simplify the square root of 36x squared. That is, 36 a perfect square and x squared is also a perfect square. So, pasabot, this is now equal to 6x. Right? So, next, because 6x times 6x is equal to 36x squared. Okay, so then, let's simplify the numerator. Square root of 9 is a perfect square. Pasabot, we can write this as 3. Because square root of 9 is equal to 3
Yes.
times square root of 10x over 6x. Okay, and then by looking at it, yes, we could still simplify it. We could
Yes.
still cancel out the common, which is equal to 3. Sakto?
Yes.
So 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2. Pasabot, we have here 2. So the final quotient would be square root of 10x
over
2x. So this is now our quotient. So that is how we do the division of radicals.
Yes.
Alright? So we do the rationalization. Makaingon ta learners nga ang radical expression is already in simplest form if wala na kayo makita nga radical symbol sa denominator.
Okay.
So that's how we do the multiplication and division of radicals. So we do hope nga nakatunan og na learn to ninyo nga mga process or technique in multiplying and dividing radical expressions. So grade 10 learners, stay tuned. After our short break, grade 10 lessons na. So again, this is Astral Academy Cyber School.
Tutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tangkop time.
And we are back, still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. Okay, so Ma'am Elvie, let's proceed to our mathematics 10. So ang ato ang competency illustrates the center radius form of the equation of a circle. So determines the center and radius of a circle given its equation and vice versa.
Alright, so yes, so we have to illustrate first the center radius form of the equation of the circle. Actually, Sir Aba po, ang kanang center radius form of a circle, of the equation of a circle, muna siya actually standard form of the equation of the circle. So, this is the center radius form of the equation of a circle. It is presented by a square of x minus h
plus the square of y minus k is equal to r squared. Pasabot ani Sir Abapo is this point h and this point k.
This shows actually the center of the circle.
Yes.
Aka na-locate ang center sa circle.
Again, this is center. And our r here is the what we call radius.
Pasabot, ang radius, same ang ginag-distance from the center in any point of the circle. Okay, so that is what the center radius of the equation of a circle is. Okay, so ato ni siyang timan-an because magamit na to sa tong next na competency which is to determine the center and the radius of a circle given its equation and vice versa. Okay, so first thing atong buhaton Sir Abapo is we have to given the center and the radius, how are we going to write the equation of the circle? So that is our first example. So direct, and we have the first example here. All right, so if we have here the given center, which is 0, 0, and the radius, the given radius is equal to 11. All right, so in this case, ang atong center, Sir Abapo, is naagi niya sa origin because naaman siya sa point nga 0, 0. Pasabot, ang atong h ani is 0, ang ato pong k is also equal to 0.
Yes.
So in this case, wala ni siya value. If magamit na sa atong equation, mag-write ta sa equation of the circle, wala ni siya value. Since wala ni siya value, unsa na lang may mabilin? We have the x and the y. So, in writing the equation of the circle is quite easier.
Yes.
Nga naman, wala naman di na to i-consider ang ato ang h and k. Because the equation of the circle now would start with the x squared plus y squared. Kaya wala, 0 man ang value niya. No? So, origin man ang iyahang center. And since the radius is equal to 11, that is equal to 11 squared. And 11 squared is equal to 121. So, the equation of the circle given the center 0, 0 and radius 11 is equal to x squared plus y squared is equal to 121. This is now the equation of the circle given this center and radius. All right? Now, our next example is, what about the center is not on the origin?
Yes.
Okay, so naanagid siya point, sir.
Okay.
So in this case, if we have here 0.53, and a radius which is 4 units. So basically, ang atong h is equal to 5 and ang atong k is equal to 3. So sa yun ra, let's substitute using the center radius form. So basically, the equation of the circle would now be x, since na naman tayo h, no? So we have x minus 5, since it's minus naman, squared plus y minus
k is 3.
that is 3 squared is equal to, our radius is 4. So, pasabot that is 4 squared. And simplifying our radius, ato na lang idiretso Sir Abapo. 4 squared is equal to 4 times 4 and that is equal to 16. So, therefore, the equation of the circle is now be x minus 5 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 16. Ang ato lang i-careful ani Sir Abapo is that kung positive na gani siya, automatically you can simply substitute it with the equation. Because na minus man gud ni siya. So, ang pasabot, if in case negative, example, negative ni si 5, sa imuhang equation would now be plus. Because negative of a negative, that is already positive. So, you have to be careful with the sign. So, pasabot, klaruhin lang namo ha, technique lang ni siya. Kung positive na gani si h and si k, automatically you can substitute it with the given equation or the form. Pero pag negative, take note, dili nimo siya diretso i-substitute because negative for negative is positive. So pasabot, mahimo siyang positive.
Dili nila kalimtan ang sign.
That is right. So, mahitabo na siya nga positive. Alright? So, this is now the equation of the circle. The square of x minus 5 plus the square of y minus 3 is equal to 16. Alright. So, what about vice versa? Ang vice versa is, given na po ng equation, dayon, i-identify na to ang center o ang radius. Alright, so let's have an example. So, let's start with, kay vice versa, man itong competency.
Example, if we have here x squared plus y squared is equal to 36.
As you can see, this is obviously the short form of the equation of the circle, no? So, pasabot, by looking at the equation, ang atong center ani is found on the origin. Pasabot, our center is, sa man? 0.00. Okay? Again, pag x squared plus y squared lang siya, automatic that the center is on the point 0, 0. And what about our radius? Our radius here is equal to 36. And di ba naka-square man ni siya?
Yes.
So, pasabot, in finding the radius, given this, all we have to do is get the square root. So, atong i-square si 36. Square root of 36 is equal to 6. So, pasabot, radius is equal to 6. So, mo ni siyang mahitabo. Given ang equation, pag-identify nito sa center o sa radius, then, all you have to do is get the point 0, 0 and radius 6. Another example. Okay, another example is, what about this given equation? X minus 2 squared plus y minus, let's make it positive.
Yes.
Plus 1 squared is equal to 81. Okay, so in this equation, let us identify the center and the radius. Okay, so simple lang. Since this is already in the center radius form, pasabot na atay point ani na atay siya, na atay center. So by looking at this example, we have here, this shows our h and this shows our k. But take note, our k is plus 1. So that is the negative of a negative. So pasabot, in identifying the center here, this would now be, the center would be 2. And since it's positive 1, then the k is minus 1. So, pasabot, this equation has a center 2, negative 1. And what about the radius? Ang radius is equal to 81. So, pasabot, square root of 81 is equal to 9. So, therefore, the radius is equal to 9. So, that's it. That's how we do the vice versa thing. So, gaganina, given ang center, ang radius, gi-write na tong equation, here na po, given ang equation, gi-write na to or gi-identify na to si center and si radius. So, as simple as that.
Yes.
Alright?
So,
we do hope that klaro sa inyo hang ato ang grade 10 nga lesson.
Yes.
So, sayon ra kayo siya. All you have to do is be familiar with the center radius form of the equation of the circle. Alright? So, we will be right back after a short break. Again, this is
Astral Academy Cyber School. And we are back, still here in
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Okay, so for our learners, no, ato ang attendance marker, third attendance marker na makita ibabaw sa inyong screen. Please don't forget to take note, Anna. Okay? Before tamu end, Ma'am Elvino, we have to thank, no?
Of course.
Sa ato ang executive producer, no, si Sir Gus Sepi, and of course sa ato ang production team, no. Dili na nako sila i-mention kay daghan na
Okay.
kay sila. And
Yes.
then of course ato ang learners, no,
Yes,
sa ilahang
thank you so
pagsuporta
much.
ug sa pagpaminaw every day. This has been Jade Mark C. Abapo from Tangub City National High School.
And Miss Elvin Nueva from Tangub City National High School. See you in our next live, learners. Again, this is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Bye!